Friends, today I am once again before you with a new topic, and the topic is about the necessity of proving a documentary evidence which has been introduced by the disciplinary authority in Annexure 3 of the charge memo. Friends, very unfortunately, the moment charge sheet is issued to a government servant, entire department and also the society starts looking at the charged officer with suspicion, and much before the guilt is proven, a sort of a judgment is pronounced by all that definitely the charged officer must have done something wrong. That is why in the charge sheet. This, in fact, is the most devastating perception which we all, including the departmental officers, inquiry officer, or for that matter, the presenting officers, carry. If we look at the provisions of Rule 14, Sub-Rule 3 of the CCA Rules 1965, any charge which is made out is generally proposed to be supported by the documents and then by the statements of the witnesses which get recorded in the oral inquiry which is undertaken under Rule 14. And friends, here I must make one thing very clear, that Rule 14 is resorted to only in the case of major penalty proceedings. Very unfortunately, disciplinary authority and so the inquiry officer and the presenting officers appointed by the disciplinary authority carry a perception that since the documentary evidences which are referred in Annexure 3 of the charge memo are ultimately taken out of the departmental record or the official or the public record, no way these documents can be doubted and they can straight away be taken into consideration by the disciplinary authority or for that matter the inquiring officer for recording or returning his findings on the articles of the charge memo. Friends, unfortunately this is the wrong understanding on the part of we all. There are umpteen instances where because of the lack of clear understanding on the part of all, including even the charge officer and his defense assistant, on the basis of unproved documents, findings get recorded and fatal damage is done to the ECU without even him realizing that such an inquiry was legally flawed. Very recently, on 4th June 2026, Delhi High Court has, in the case of Jamia Millia Islamia versus M.G. Hussain, after analyzing all the available judgments of the Supreme Court, which inter alia included judgments given in the case of PNB, Punjab National Bank versus S.K. Jain, State of UP versus Ram Prakash Singh and Roop Singh Negi versus Punjab National Bank on the issue in hand, has held that unless the witnesses examined in regard to the documents which the disciplinary authority intended to rely in support of the charges, such documentary evidences cannot be treated as an evidence to be used to return any findings on the charges framed in the charge memo. So friends, two takeaway points are that A, it will be very unlawful for the inquiry officer to return any findings on the charges framed merely on the basis of the photocopies or the authenticated copies of the documents referred in Annexure 3 of the charge memo. That is, the inquiry officer has no option but to himself go through the original documents. B, even if the original documents have been seen by the inquiry officer or taken into custody by the inquiry officer, still he has to ensure that these documents cannot be taken on the records of the inquiry unless these are proved by the witnesses of the persons who made or drew them. I am quite sure if this subtle aspect of need to prove the document is taken note of by all, including the charged officer who has the biggest stake in the outcome of any inquiry being undertaken, illegality can be avoided and the precious time and energy thus got wasted can be saved and the findings of the inquiry officer would really be sustainable. I hope I am able to make my point clear in the context of indispensable requirement to prove the documentary evidence in support of the charges made out in the charge memo. If you like the presentation for the benefit of all, kindly share further. Thank you. This is what I had to say about the need to prove the document introduced in the disciplinary proceeding. Thank you very much.